I need you in this thing. That's the only way I can stand the game. New edition say who can stand the rain. I can, but only if you hold my hand. And I need you in this thing. I remember when things went from better to worse. There's a Bible over there filled with nothing but dust. Sometimes I'm so aware of missing these curse. Until I do right, it crumbles. Until I do right, it crumbles. Maybe let's pride more humble. Maybe let's pride, let's stumble. Listen, until I do right, it hurts. Nothing I try just works. I need to place him first. My mission to fly like a bird and touch the highest sky. They can call me absurd, only failing not to try. To soar like an eagle beyond the brightest star. I need to be wherever you are. Cause I need you in this thing. That's the only way I can stand the game. New edition say who can stand the rain. Well, I can, but only if you hold my hand. And I need you in my life. No, you, nothing just feels quite right. So true, nothing but cloudy skies, no blue. Cause only you know how to bring the shine. Listen, I had more issues than an essence. Life was sorta empty like a turkey with no dressing. Life was sorta wrong like a dinner with no blessings. Life was sorta broke like a country in recession. Life was sorta hazardous. I'm living like a malagist. I'm dying on the inside. Lord, touch me like I'm Lazarus. I'm lost like Pluto. I'm lost like Toto. And I need clarity. I'm fading like a photo. Cause me without you is like a tank without its ink. I mean, what would I do? It's like Peter selling me. I mean, me without you is like a house without a home. Lonely, out of town, on the phone, roaming. Then I need you in this thing. That's the only way I can stand the game. New edition say who can stand the rain. Well, I can, but only if you hold my hand. And I need you in my life. No, you, nothing just feels quite right. So true, nothing but cloudy skies, no blue. Cause only you know how to bring the shine. I got courage like I'm Overbeck. Mama told me give him heck. And when I'm done, get my check. Cause I got mouth to feed. Like the bee, believe it to he. Like my Siva, I wanna see His grace and love from His eternity. Because my faith is at 1 trillion. Doubt is at 0. Reaching back to touch millions. Cause Jesus is my hero. Boy, you get offended quick. Please check your ego. And whether I say his name or not, trust me, lady, he know the reason for me flow. The reason for my life. To the day I take my last breath, I be repping J. Christ. My back avoiding day knife. They salty like their Lot's wife. It don't make or break my day out. It really don't pause my say. All I know is that I'm crazy. Time seems crazy and it's everything. And if I'm gonna make it, then I'm gonna make it in my corner. And I'm gonna need you. I need you in this thing.
Hey, good evening, you guys. Okay, so I have a quick word for you tonight, and then we're gonna dive in. But first, I want to make sure that you can hear me, and I think you can. Hey, so let me know. Then also, if you're excited about this word and you think it's going to be a blessing to you, I want you to go ahead and share it, because that helps us get the word out. And you know the deal. We want more people blessed around us. But let me tell you where we're going tonight. We're going to deal with unstuck. Right? Because you're not designed to be stuck. And if you find yourself stuck in any area of life, you're not designed to stay that way. Right? So I want to dig into that because I saw something really interesting in the word, and I don't want us to miss it. So before we dive in, I want to make sure you know where you are. I'm Pastor Jay. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm Pastor Jay with Faith by Hearing, and this is time for our Success in Life training class. We do this Wednesday nights. So I was thinking about this, and about 5 years ago, I was stepped up on a curb, and then my hip hurt, like sharp pain. So now it's like I'm not walking right. And then after I started dealing with that, I reached up and my arm got some weird little kink in it, and I couldn't get it any higher than here. And it was like a sharp pain if I tried to go any higher, right? So then when I started researching and rehabilitating and taking care of, it was like I started moving around, and I was like, it's like my leg is stuck in a certain range. It can't go any further. My shoulder's stuck, and she can't go any higher. And so then I'm stuck walking around here, young woman, moving around like an old woman. And so when I looked up, I was like, my body got stuck in different ways. And that made me think, I was like, when I got stuck like that, I remember feeling like it stole something from me. right? It stole my range of motion because I should be able to do all of this. And I want to be able to do all of this. I felt like it gave me stuff that I didn't want. So now I got these limitations that I don't want. I got pain, for random stuff, just trying to walk and live life that I don't want. I want to go to the grocery store, pick up my water and it not be a big deal. I want to be able to take a walk and the curb not take me out. But it also made me believe something that wasn't true. It made me believe I was old when I was still young because different parts in me had gotten stuck and they were limiting me. And so when I started looking at this word right here, it made me think. I said, everything about the human condition is designed to not be stuck. You are just not designed to be limited. You are not designed to be stuck. Your body is not supposed to be stuck. When it gets stuck, it puts you in pain. You know what I mean? Your mind is not supposed to be stuck. When it gets stuck, you get trapped in yesterday. You see what I'm saying? Your finances are not supposed to be stuck. When they get stuck, it limits what you're able to do, the good works that you're able to participate in. So look at Isaiah 43:18. I think I'm in the Good News translation. But the Lord says, do not cling to events of the past or dwell on what happened long ago. Watch for the new thing I am going to do. It is happening already. You can see it now. I will make a road through the wilderness and give you streams of water there. So he's telling you, when he says do not cling to the events of the past or dwell on what happened long ago. When you cling to the events of the past, you get stuck back there. Right? When you dwell on all the things that happened long ago, you get stuck back there. So there are people who can get stuck. You can get stuck in the pain of everything that was back there. And then you see what I'm saying? But you could get stuck in the victories where you keep remembering the trophy you got when you was 15 and the honor you got when you were 25, and you're living in the glory days and you're stuck there and when you're stuck, so you could get stuck on a good memory, get stuck on a bad memory. But if you cling to that stuff and you get stuck on that stuff, then your energy that should be focused on the new thing is caught up in yesterday. So we're not designed to get stuck. Right? There's something about God. Whenever we hear in the word that we're pressing toward the mark of a high calling, when you're pressing towards where your eyes are forward, you're moving forward, you're reaching for something else that he's doing. Look at the assignment. He said, watch for the new thing. So your assignment is to watch for the new thing. I'm going to show you because I know we're in the Old Testament, but it shows up in the New Testament too. Watch for the new thing. That's the assignment. Watch for the new thing. Okay? Because when you watch for the new thing and then you pray for the new thing, what does it do? It changes your focus. You see what I'm saying? So now you're on the new thing. Here's why it's so important. He calls it the new thing that I am doing. He says his new thing is happening already. He says you can see the new thing right now. So then if we're sitting stuck, we're not focusing on the new thing. We can't see that there's this refreshing, this interesting, this dynamic, this change happening around us, and that God is engineering it, that God is the source behind it, that God is excited about it and wants you to be focused on it and excited about it too. Now look at this. He says that if you will watch for the new thing, what you're going to see me do, the new thing you will see me do is I will make a road through the wilderness. So he says when you watch for the new thing, instead of watching the wilderness, you're going to end up watching the road that he creates for you to get you through the wilderness that you're dealing with, right? So then instead of watching the problem, you're going to start watching the answer show up on your behalf. Do you see what he's doing? He's changing what you're looking at. He gives us a very clear assignment. So when we find ourselves stuck, he's telling us, watch for my new thing. So then that means literally in the moment, it just changes what you're looking. I remember watching a show one time and they were telling us how race car drivers drive and the question was, how can you go that fast without hitting the the wall every time. And the coach, he said, it's what you focus on. It's what you pay attention to. So he said that if you are driving and you look at the wall, they're going to hit the wall. See what I'm saying? So if they want to stay on the road, they have to look forward and they have to keep looking at the road in front of them. If they keep doing that, they'll stay on the road and they'll be able to go at fast speeds without just a fear-based accident. So what we look at, so when God tells us to watch for the new thing, and he says it changes you when you're in the middle of a problem. You start thinking, okay, I've got a problem. When you watch for the new thing, your heart will start to tell you, this is an opportunity for me to grow closer with God. Okay, let's take that out. Say it another way. When you're looking at a problem, your heart will tell you, I wonder what God is going to do in the middle of this. You see what I'm saying? When you're looking at the problem, instead of focusing there, your heart is going to tell you, how is God going to show up this time? Right? When you're looking at a wilderness situation or some drama, your mind is going to catch up with your heart and it's going to tell you, God covered me before. He will cover me again. It might not look like what I'm used to, but it will be exactly what I need. So even though we're given this, we watch for the new thing, it changes where you put your energy. So instead of putting your energy in everything that's wrong, you're putting your energy in the breakthrough that's coming. You're putting your energy in the answers. You're putting your energy in the fact that God will never leave you forsaken or begging bread, right? You're putting your energy that I expect him to show up for me. Look at this. He says, watch for my new thing. I will make a road through the wilderness. And then he says, not only that, a road through the wilderness, I will give you streams of water there. You know, when he says, I'm going to give you streams of water, he's saying, I'm going to give you what you need. So then you are not going to go thirsty. You're not going to die in a drought. You're not going to dry out. You're not going to you're going to remain relevant. This means for everything. So if you're on a job and everybody around you seems to be getting fired, I would stand on this word, God, I'm watching for your new thing. Where do you want me? Because see, your new thing, your road might be, he may move you to a different company. He may move you to a different title or position. He may move you from the job to business. It all depends on your assignment. You see what I'm saying? And then not only that, streams of water inside of that, he will give you fresh ideas. He will give you new answers. He will give you what you need in order for you to remain relevant in the life that you are assigned to. Okay, so then this streams of water means you will be lubricated. You will be full. There will be enough. There will be more than enough. He's trying to tell you something. I want you to watch for my new thing, because in that wilderness, I have a road for you and I have water for you. So instead of us looking at the dry, cracked up areas where the wilderness is, we start looking at the oasis. Do you know what I'm saying? We start looking at the beauty in the middle of it. We start looking at this creative way that God gives us answers. Let me give you a biblical example. Joseph was a young man. It was 12 of them. His father had 12 kids and he was the second from the youngest. And his brothers were jealous of him. They sold him off into slavery. Really, they wanted to kill him, but the oldest brother protected him and sold him off into slavery to keep the other brothers from killing him. So now he's in slavery. He goes through all these different situations, ends up in jail for a crime he did not commit. And then the kingdom gets in distress several years later. And the king has a dream and he doesn't know the answer. So then they call David up, because David is a dreamer and God talks to him and he can interpret dreams. And the dream told him that a drought was going to come. And so that's a wilderness. The dream is telling him that the wilderness is going to come, right? And after the wilderness, that before the wilderness, there will be a time of plenty. After that, there will be a drought. Now, when you focus on God's new thing, there's a set of us that would have freaked out that the wilderness was ever coming, right? But because he's focused on God's new thing, he puts a plan in place So that when the wilderness comes, when the drought comes, the kingdom that he is in charge of never suffers. It always has enough because they've stored up and they've prepared. The reason why I know they had enough, because they had enough for the surrounding cities and nations and farmers and you know, families to come and get from them, right? So every desert, every drought, every bit of drama is not meant to be your problem if we can change what we look at. If we can focus on God's new thing, do you know he can prepare us for seasons that are destructive all around us and set you up to be overflowing in the middle of it? There's power in changing what we look at. Okay, let me keep going. Look at this one. Look at this one. So then from Isaiah 43, 18 and 19, in this assignment of watching the new thing, we have two core assignments. Right? The first one is focus. You heard me say it over and over and over again. Focus on God's new thing. I want to give you some more word on it. Psalms 51 and 10. This is still the Good News translation. Create a pure heart in me, O God. This is David. And put a new loyal spirit in me. So now David, who's as a young man, spent a lot of time in the wilderness, a lot of time hiding, fighting for his life, but also fighting for his kingdom, right? He asked God, I want you to put a new and loyal spirit in me. He's asking God for that new thing. And we can lift that and let that become a prayer. So when you find yourself stuck and you want to get unstuck and you know you got a right to not be stuck, a simple prayer that you can say is pray this: God, create in me a new loyal spirit to you and everything that you've set aside for me. Right? Create in me a pure heart. Create in me a new spirit. Create in me a loyal spirit. And that becomes your prayer. But look at this. 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. Anyone who is joined to Christ is a new being. The old is gone, the new has come. So now we see all the way back here in Isaiah that God is saying he's doing a new thing. It's already here. It's already happening. Then we get here, and just in case you're trying to act like it doesn't apply to you, he says that when you join to Christ, you're new. Right? And he says, and the new thing has begun. You're a new being and the new thing has begun. Now let's check this out. The body is still old, but the spirit is new. So then when you're working out your faith walk, the mind, which means the soul, is still old, but the spirit is new. So when you work out your faith walk, this new spirit that is in you, that is the Holy Spirit of God renews your spirit, refreshes your spirit, gets your spirit unstuck. So as you feed your spirit, so she can keep growing, you feed your spirit so he can keep growing, then your spirit will check your body and will check your soul, right? And so that new has come, then your body begins to come new because you handle it a certain way. And your soul begins to become new because you're handling it a certain way, because that refreshing spirit of God is a part of you now. Right, it's taking center stage. Now remember what he said? He says, I want you to watch for the new thing. So then in our faith walk, instead of us watching for everything that we do wrong, we're watching for the new thing. God, what's new about me? Your spirit is new, right? So feed your spirit to keep it fresh, to keep it new. Feed your spirit, and your spirit will direct your body and it will direct your soul. And if you will spend enough days, you put some consistency on it, you will walk into a different way of seeing things and doing things. Now, when you already belong to God, we can still end up stuck. So then this refreshing, that's about God, what am I missing? God, are you in the middle of a movement with me? Am I blocking you? What am I blocking? You know what I mean? God, am I focused on the right things? And these are your prayers right there. You put them on the table. So whenever you put this stuff on the table, you know God will get answers to you. Father, let me be in the flow. Let me be in the moment with you. That's assignment number 1. Change your focus. Focus on God's new thing. Now look at this. Assignment number 2 is freedom. Embrace your freedom. Freedom from all bondage. 2 Corinthians 3 and 17. In the NIV it says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Now look at this. I want you to look at 2 Corinthians 3:16 through 18, and I'm in the Message version. Whenever, though they turn to face God as Moses did, God removes the veil and they are face to face. So this new thing that God did for us in Christ, right, means that there's no longer a veil between us and God. There is no longer a go-between between us and God. We get to stand face to face before God. The relationship gets intimate again. Look at this. Listen, look at this. They suddenly recognize that God is a living, personal presence, not a piece of chiseled stone. Do you know that you could be in the church and you could end up dealing with God like he is an object, right? Instead of a living personal being, and miss the relationship. And we can have seasons where we are really close and we will misstep out of those seasons and then fall out of the flow of what he's doing and end up dealing with God like he's over there and my life is over here. Right? But what we want, if we're going to focus on God's new thing, remember what it said in verse 16, that the veil is removed and we are face to face with God. So that new thing means my life is here where my God is. They're together. So when I merge them together, that lets God get involved in everything. And you know, Dad has always said, because when Dad's salvation experience, right, Apostle Warner, his salvation experience was God had him on his knees and drilled it into his head. God first, family second, business third. You know what happens? It takes his life and puts it right where God is. It takes our life and put it right where God is. And the two should merge, because when God is first, that means we let God involved in how we handle our family. And when we let him in, he'll get to the root of your issue, the root of my issue that's creating a problem in the family, right? Because see, the old thing, the wilderness, is we will focus on what everybody else is doing wrong. The new thing is when I focus on the thing that I can change. I focus on God and how he sees me and how he wants to grow me up. And as he grows me up, trust your family, your business will grow up with you, because you'll have new strength, and which strength at the root means stamina, right? To manage these things, to deal with these things, to live it different from how you've done it. If God is excited about a new thing and spends time saying it and have it written down, our spirits have to be in a place where it can always embrace God's new thing in every season of life. Because if you look at the most basic thing, if you just look at the seasons on the planet that he put us in, we literally live on a planet that by design, a new thing is always happening at the minimum every 3 months. At the minimum every 3 months. Because the spring is roughly about 3 months long. Right? And then it starts changing and it gets warmer and the plants are full. You know what I mean? Like that. And so now we're in a different season and it's a new season. And then the summer is about 3 months long. And then all of a sudden things start becoming colorful, right? And then they die and then they fall off, and the ground is all of these beautiful colors because everything has just changed again. And then the fall, the autumn, is about 3 months long. And everything looks stark, and generally for the average places it's cold, you know what I mean? And the color is not there, and you can see the shapes of the trees and all the weird jagged shapes that the branches cut in the sky. You might even get snow, and then about 3 months that season will change. And do you know what happens? The trees start to bud, and there's these little bitty plants that start to grow on them, and then little bitty trees, and it changes again. We live in the middle of a constant new thing. Let's embrace that. So instead of us finding a box to put God in and getting upset when he won't stay in it, let's embrace the new thing because he designed the whole world for you, just for you to live in, right? And he gave you seasons that are designed to train us to embrace the new and to embrace the change. Look at this. And when God is personally present, a living spirit, that old constricting legislation is recognized as obsolete. So there's a legislative way of living. There's a way for the law to trap you, and people use it that way. And he's saying, but when you're in the living spirit, the living presence of God, you are not trapped by that law. See, we can't be perfect enough to walk the law out, but under the grace of God, we could flow in his grace. And when we flow in his grace, there's a joy that we find. There's a healing that we find. There's a breakthrough that we find. And we find ourselves unstuck. I know the deal. That any of us, I don't care who you are, what your title is, or how long you've been with God, or the fact that you just met him, it's very, very easy to slip into a stuck season and not even know it. I just want you to know your rights. That if you look up and you are stuck, you've got a right, and you've got right to be unstuck, to get free. And your assignment is to change your focus, and your assignment is to embrace the freedom. Let me keep going. 2 Corinthians 3:16 through 18. Where's the rest of it? We are free of it. All of us. Nothing between us and God. That face to face, nothing between us and God. No veil between us and God. No man between us and God. No woman between us and God. Because check this out. It's in the New Testament that he sets you in a place, right? Your spiritual home, church, and you have pastors, right? And you have prophets, and you have all the different gifts that God uses to inform you. But he uses that to teach you, to train you, to prepare you. You're still supposed to take that word in, leave with that word, and go have these face-to-face moments with God every day. That's what your own prayer life is about. Corporate prayer has an assignment. At the least, where two or more are gathered in my name, I'm in the midst, right? At the least, one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. Corporate prayer, there's a unity in it, and it releases a certain type of power. And we want that. It magnifies the power. But you cannot miss the beginning of it, right? That there has to be this intimacy, this face-to-face every day between you and God. Okay, look at this, look at this. Nothing between us and God. Our faces shining with the brightness of his face, right? And so that stuff on him, right, can stick on us. Look at this. And so we are transfigured much like the Messiah. So they, in the New Testament, saw Jesus transfigured, right? Like the Messiah. And so this is saying that because of Christ, he went to do this work. Because of Christ, we can be transfigured. So they saw Jesus change, shift, breathe a new atmosphere, step into a new thing. So then Jesus himself said, greater works than these shall I do because I go to my Father. Before that, he says, you can do what I can do. We can be transfigured. We can shift. We can change. We can be unstuck, right? Jesus is free. We get to be free. You see what I'm saying? Look at this. Look at this. Our lives gradually become brighter and more beautiful as God enter our lives and we become like him. So then to be unstuck is to live a brighter life, right? And brighter, it opens up. To be unstuck is to live a more beautiful life, to live a life that is closer to God. So if you're looking around and it's not beautiful to you, go back, because you got a right to something. So go right back to the word, right back to what he said, right back to the promise, right back to the pressing for what the promise said that you can have, right back to the prayer, because you want it all. So then do not get comfortable in that dull, stuck feeling. Watch for the new thing. Embrace the new thing. Look for the road in the wilderness. Look for the stream. Ask for it. If you don't see it, ask for it. Because when you ask for it, sometimes it's right there and God has to reopen your eyes so you can see it. Sometimes it's not there because you're looking in the wrong direction. And sometimes it's just not where you're trying to make it be. You got to walk a different way. But when you start watching for the new thing, your expectations jump up. I just want you stirred up about everything that God has for you. I do not want the best of your life to be when you were 6 years old. You see what I'm saying? I want you to have everything that God has for you because you are his child. So he wants his baby to grow up and be blessed in levels that he cannot, that you as a man can imagine, that you as a woman can imagine. He has so much more for you. So let's get unstuck. You're not designed for that. All right. So now your assignment for the rest of this week till we get to Sunday is focus and freedom. Focus and freedom. I want you literally every time a problem comes up and you start thinking about the problem, I want you to make yourself start looking for the answer. So then your assignment in that, as soon as you see the problem, I want you to pray, God, I got this problem on my job. I want you to show me the road to deal with the problem. Show me the stream to deal with the problem. Show me the new thing to deal with the problem. That's your assignment. Every problem triggered this specific prayer. Show me the road. Show me the stream. Show me the new thing to deal with this problem. Use the problems as a prayer trigger, and you are praying this specific prayer. And let's see what turns up. Because if you involve him in it first, the actions that you take are going to have more wisdom behind it later. All right? All right. So I just want to make sure you guys, wait, what have I done? Where am I? Okay, I got caught up. Got to having fun. Listen, so I want to make sure that you guys just take advantage of everything that God has for you. I put the giving on the screen because that helps us do what we do and helps us do more, share more, teach more, but also reach more. And we have so much more to do and sets us up to be able to give to every good work. But before we get out of here, I just want to remind you, right, I just want to make sure you know this because I've said this a bunch of times. You have an assignment based on that scripture. You have an assignment, and that is to focus on the new thing. Or as exactly they say in the word, Isaiah 43, watch for God's new thing. Your assignment number 1. Assignment number 2, freedom. Embrace his freedom. You have a right to be free of all bondage. So quit accepting functional pain. Quit accepting the drama that you can manage. Quit accepting manageable problems and issues. Turn them over to God and start looking for freedom from every single type of bondage that tries to limit you. Because I know there are fears that you are comfortable with because you know how to manage them. We're giving those over too. We're giving those over too, so that God can just go ahead and break you all the way through. We quit limiting him. I've done that. We're not doing that no more. We're going to quit limit. You can't live no life with a shoulder that can't go no higher than here. It turns out that if you don't use it, you will lose it. So then all I did was started stretching consistently, right? And then the shoulder, it took months, but the shoulder opened up and now I can do everything I want to do. Right? So spiritually, then you need to start stretching yourself spiritually so that your spirit and your soul can open up and you can do everything that God wants to do through you. Nothing on you is designed to be stuck. All right, let's get free and let's stay that way. Okay, guys, I will say, hey, Miss Rita, how you doing? Hi, Miss Pratt, nice to see you. Hey, Miss Evelyn, how you doing? Hi, Miss Shirley. Hi, Miss Leah. I'm so glad you guys stopped in because it is, in my part of the world, it's beautiful outside right now. So thanks for pausing to get this word. I want to make sure you guys know 2 things. We have a church picnic coming up on May the 14th at Faith by Hearing. So we're going to have fish and chicken, and we're going to have turkey burgers. We're going to have fish and chicken, so something for everybody, coleslaw, baked beans. And if you want to come, please do let us know because we are trying to get that RSVP so we have enough meat for everybody, okay? It's time for us to come home and enjoy each other and just see each other and just laugh in each other's presence and have fun and in the presence of us together and in God. So get ready for that and let me know if you're coming. Text me or inbox us or say something at the bottom of this. And then if this word blessed you, and I know it did because I did what God asked me to do, then I want you to share it so someone else can be blessed beside you. All right, let's get out of here and let's go live the rest of this evening